Hello, everyone. Welcome to another night of stamping. My name is Sarah Simon. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator coming to you from a very hot and sticky Appleton, Wisconsin. Oh my goodness, we should not be having 90-degree weather on the first day of school for our public schools. I know Amanda said that her 4Ker was already in bed, so she's able to watch in peace. I know it just wipes you right out, right? I decided since it was supposed to be 90 today that I was going to wear a dress to work. Big mistake because then I'm going to get so busy and I'm going to have to be crawling underneath tables and doing all of that kind of stuff. And that's exactly what happened. But I was nice and cool when I went outside. I think I was at every campus today. We have four campuses. Um, Two of them I was at twice. So it was kind of a crazy Tuesday. But let me tell you, I had so much rest and relaxation this weekend that I didn't even care. I went to bed on Sunday. It was maybe like about 20 after 9, maybe even earlier than that. And I said to my mom, I'm really tired. There's nothing that I want to watch on TV. I'm just going to go to bed. So I went to bed and I stayed in bed until 7:30 the next morning on Monday morning. It felt so good. My mom thought I was up WALKing Lila, but I wasn't. We were still in bed. So it looks like we have Amanda and Mary and Karen. Oh my gosh, some of the first ones. Julie, Sandy, Linda. Thank you, Linda and Linda. And Melanie. Thank you so much for joining me live tonight. And thank you for all of you who have shared. That really helps to get the word out there. Let me tell you, my numbers of people that are viewing my videos went down quite a bit when I went to YouTube instead of Facebook. But thanks to all of you that has been picking up already. Hi, Sarah. We actually, today wasn't our first day. We were in last Wednesday, but our public schools, today was their first day. So it was kind of exciting for all of them, but oh my goodness, hot, hot, hot. And most of those schools don't have air. At least all of our schools have air in most of the buildings. So that's really nice. Hi, Denise. I hope you guys had air by you because it was hot today. Thank you for sharing. Thanks, Sandy. Yeah, this weather is hot, but I think that there's rain coming on Wednesday. And then I think after that, it's supposed to cool off a little bit. I think it's only supposed to be like in the 70s, which I love that. That's perfect. All right, let's go ahead and get to some prizes right away. So last week, a lot of you commented how much you loved this decorative mask. Is that not gorgeous? I love this so much. And I think I love the traditional colors of yellow because I am a yellow person. However, I thought this blue was striking as well. So, and I was in a blue mood because both of our cars are blue. So we made this one. And then we made our fun fold that unties. And then this flap opens. And then you have another flap that opens. And oh my goodness, right? The card just keeps going. And I'll tie that back up. So receiving this for commenting last week was number 20 on my list. Sandy Calloway. So I think I saw you on here, Sandy. I think I said hello to you. I think you were one of the Sandys. Yes, two Sandys. So congratulations, Sandy. I will get this off in the mail to you. And then for sharing, so anytime you share, make sure that you in the comments write that you share because sometimes I can see it, sometimes I can't. Depends on your settings that you have your Facebook or your YouTube set to. And you can share it anywhere and you can comment anywhere. I do check all of those places. Hello, Gwen from Hawaii. Good. I think Kay just jumped on. So hello, Kay. So for sharing and receiving a pack of these, oh, adhesive back glitter sequins, just gorgeous. Look at, you can see them just glittering and they are super, super flat. So you will not have to pay extra postage for these. You shouldn't have to. But then again, Mr. Postman isn't always kind to me. I was in a swap from Minnesota and my friend Kathy, Kathy Miller, she ended up getting her cards and I'm like, I didn't get my cards yet. And so today she sent me an email, the person who organizes and said, Sarah, I'm really sorry. Your cards came back to me It said that there was there was a suspicion of something. So I don't know if they thought there was liquid in it or what they thought was in it, but they sent them back to her. So she put them back in the mail today. So hopefully I'll be getting those soon so that I can share some of those with you. So anyway, receiving these beautiful things for sharing is number 10. Tammy Litsky. So Tammy, I will get these off in the mail to you. And then for placing an order. So anytime you place an order, and I do have a new host code right here below me. That is good. It started yesterday. So it will be good for a month for you for this month of September. So receiving this, my favorite distress tiled 3D embossing folder, the one that we did over, we're going to use this one tonight again too. My absolute favorite right now, as well as some of the new. So I know we do have some black and white check. This is black and vanilla rather than white, and it's a little bit thicker than the other ribbon. So this is new in the catalog as well. So for placing an order was number 2, Kim Metalman. So Kim, I will get this in the mail to you. Hello, Cheryl Gray from California. I have a niece that lives out in California. Has it been really hot out there? I haven't actually connected with her. I know my other niece was there visiting her this weekend, and they had lots of fun pictures of things that they were doing at the beach, and they looked like they were having fun. So thank you all for sharing, commenting, and everything else. And my goal is to get these out tomorrow in the mail to you. So hopefully by the weekend, you will have them. Last week at the end, I commented about like when should I be doing my Facebook Live? So or YouTube Live. So what I did was I went ahead and I looked at my calendar. I know that a lot of you put that Saturdays are better for you than now during the school year trying to do it on a Tuesday night. For me, it probably is too. However, I do have some classes on Saturdays, so I want to eventually get back to Saturday. And so this is what I came up with for September, if you want to take a screenshot of it. And I will post this on my YouTube or my Facebook page as well. So tonight we're going live at 6:30. Because I will not be here this weekend, I'm going to be in Lansing at a demonstrator event. I will go again next Tuesday on September 12th at 6:30. And then the following week, I'm going to go till on Monday. And the reason I'm going to move it to Monday, that way there's a little bit more of a break between when I'm doing that, and then I'll jump back to Saturdays. And so then Saturday, September 23rd, I'll be back to my 8:30 a.m. time. And then September 30th will be my normal 8:30 time. And then the week after that, when I get into October, I'll share October schedule as well. I do have a card buffet one of those days, and so I will have to that day bump to like a 12:30 in the afternoon, but I'll give you enough notice on that. And then we'll go from there. I do have my nephew's wedding in November that will be in Minnesota, and so I will definitely not be able to do a Saturday then. And I also have a card buffet, but then I can always move that one to later. So we'll figure out October and November as we go along. I know it's better to stay consistent because then you know when to find me. So I will try to transition back to that Saturday since a lot of you said Saturday was better. You can always watch the replay if you want because it's up for whenever you want to watch it. And I will start getting some of those tomorrow. I can start choosing the supplies that I used in some of the cards that I've made over the past couple of weeks. So I will be posting those on my blog so that you have access and can find some of that stuff in the catalog because the catalog goes live tomorrow. I know we've been able to order in it a while. There's a couple of things that I have a card buffet coming up and I wanted to use some of the product and I'm kind of low on some of the paper. Oh my phone just got disconnected. So I will have to connect that when we flip over. But anyway, I can't wait to get some of the stuff so that we can, and I know some of you have been waiting. I've said it before and I'll say it again. If there's something you absolutely want, I would order it early. The autumn, all about autumn, that paper is already on back order. It's on back order until next week. So it's not too bad right now. But some of that stuff goes really fast. So if there's something you want, especially if it's something you want for your Christmas cards or anything like that, I would order it as soon, better sooner rather than later, because otherwise it might be gone. All right, I'm going to go ahead and go to my other camera, and I have to reconnect because I got disconnected. Still don't know why that happens. And allow. All right, and it's not allowing me to connect. So let's see here. Let's try again. I'm sorry for this. I will do my best to get up here as quickly as I can. It's not fun looking at a black screen. Let me close out of it and start over and see if that helps. See, this is why Kathy Miller, if you're on here, Kathy, this is why you don't like doing Facebook Lives or YouTube Lives, because this happens. And now it's not wanting to connect me. Oh, let's see here. Let's see if it pops up. There we go. It said connecting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I am back. Sorry about that. I had to go out. Let me see if my microphone, there we go. I muted that so you don't hear an echo. I apologize for that. Hopefully that's our one snafu for the night. At least I hope that's it. Thank you guys for hanging tight with me on that one. I am back. I mentioned in my Facebook post that we are going to be doing fall cards tonight. So for the first card, let me get all of my stuff up here. I'm going to let you vote on which color card base we're going to be using. Okay, so you're going to be able to get a vote on this. So the paper that I'm using is from Them Bones. Now, I did purchase the designer series paper. Jay's setting her alarm for 4 a.m. to get her order in tomorrow. Yeah, I think other people might be doing that as well, Jay. I did not order this stamp set or the dies that go with it, but I did get the paper, and I've been seeing so many cute things that chances are I will probably get the stamp set. I am going to be making a Halloween card with this tonight. However, I just won't be using Them Bones. So look at this purple. I love purple, black, and orange and gray for Halloween. So this has like a little stripe in it. And then on the back, there's some little bats and moons. And then we've got kind of like this, oh, what is this called? Houndstooth. And it looks like it's little cats or bats, or I think it's bats actually, that are forming it. And then you've got these little graveyard with the bats. And I'm gonna not lie to you, I am more of a cutesy Halloween person than I am a scary Halloween person. These are little bones that make the chevron pattern, which is kind of cute. And then look at these little skeleton guys. So this is what the stamps look like. They've got little skeletons, and you can make them dance and things like that. This is the paper that we're going to be using, and this is the paper we're going to be using in our card tonight. But then there are little tombstones or headstones, whatever they are. And look at these little skeleton guys. And then you have these fun papers that you can cut the different parts apart and use them. And then the back is a paper that has like boo, eek, all that kind of stuff. All right, so that is the paper. So you saw this is the designer paper we're going to be using tonight, both of these. Now we're going to layer it onto a black, and I'll give you all of those dimensions when we get to it. So we are going to be putting it on a black. I'm going to let you choose if you would like to have a Cajun Craze card with that, or if you like the pumpkin pie. So it's Cajun Craze is this one. Pumpkin pie is that one. So go ahead and vote as to which one of the colors you would like for a base. And while you're doing that, I will give you all of the dimensions of this fun fold card that we're going to do. All right, so here it is. All right, so we need our card base, whichever one we use, is going to be 4 1/4 by 11. And I'm going to score this one. I already scored the Cajun Craze one, but I wanted to score this with you so you could see exactly how to score it. I'm going to get the rest of this paper out of my way. Let's set this over here with the rest of the mess on my counter. All right, so how you're going to score this, according to my directions on here, is you are going to score it at 4 1/4. So this is our paper trimmer, and the lighter blade down here is the scoring, and then this darker one is our cutting. And so I'm going to score at 4 1/4, and I'm going to score at 5 1/2. What kind of card do you think we're making? It seems like it's one of those book fold cards, right? Where you fold it in half this way and you fold it back that way. Very, very true. It is. But we're going to add a little twist to this and make it an easel book card. I was going to make a card like Amanda had sent to me, but then all of a sudden I'm like, you know what I haven't done ever, I don't think, was make this layout. So I decided to make this layout. So the last score that you have to do is from the upper right hand corner of the front. So the front is the one with the two that has the extra score line. So I'm going to go from this upper right hand corner to this lower corner of where that 4 1/4 line is. So I'm going to go ahead and set this corner in here, and then I'm going to line up in my track where that score line and the paper end. So I'm just going to go ahead and make sure you're using your scoring blade and not your cutting blade, because you don't want to cut that off. You actually want to score that. So it's like you're folding that square. This is 4 1/4 by 4 1/4. You're kind of folding that in half to make your easel. All right, that's all I need the paper trimmer for. All right, the other layers that I have 2 layers that are 4 inches by 4 inches. I have, it says 2 of them here at 3 7/8 by 3 7/8. One of them is basic white. The other one is that designer series paper. I have a strip of basic black that's 1 inches by 4 inches. And then I chose another design that kind of went along with that. This kind of looks like that hound's tooth or whatever. And this is 7/8 inch by 3 7/8. I did cut out one of those deckled circles that we looked at last time. And I did cut out, this is the second, not the largest, but the second to the largest stitched circle that comes from the Stylish Shapes. I have several different scraps of white that we're going to be stamping on and punching. And the stamp set that we're going to be using, so cute, is this Pick of the Patch. Now, we have used this once before for a card that I made with some of the autumn paper that was all pumpkins. Actually, I have it sitting right here. Hasn't been put away yet. Okay, so remember when we used this paper and we just stamped that little stamp there and we had our little leaves in the corner? We're going to be using it, but we're going to use this little jack-o'-lantern face, and we're going to use the Happy Halloween this time, and try to do something a little bit different with this. All right, so let's go ahead, and it looks like Cajun Craze, Cajun Pumpkin, Cajun Pumpkin, 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 Cajun Pumpkin, 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 Cajun Pumpkin. Oh my goodness. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pumpkin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Cajun. Okay, if I told you that I made my sample and pumpkin pie, would you want me to try Cajun and then decide what you like better at the end? Because I could do that as well. Because my sample I did in pumpkin pie, because like some of you, pumpkin pie for Halloween, because it seems like it should be. But I can do this one in Cajun, and then we can see if you like the pumpkin pie. And then whoever wins can pick. Hi, Patty Skiba. You can pick if you want the Cajun one or the pumpkin pie one next week. How about if we do that? So I'm going to put the pumpkin pie one away and we'll try Cajun this time. All right, so I'm going to bring, I put the stamps on the blocks already. I'm going to set some of this off to the side. I have this here because I need it later. I'm going to bring this in for my stamping. Now, this punch is such that you've got your stem up here, we've got a leaf down here, and we've got two of the pumpkins. So the two pumpkins that I picked are the ones that I could punch out, so I didn't have to do any fussy cutting. Just so you know, when I got this punch, I was really, really disappointed at first. And the reason I was disappointed is I punched it and it was like there was all these markings on everything that I punched. It looked like a black line around it. I think what it was oil that they put on these so that they open and that they punch really nice. And I think some of that just had to work off because after I punched enough with it, that was gone. And so you may want to, if you do end up getting this, and if you love the pumpkins and if this is something you want, I have a feeling that the punches are the things, the bear punch, the pumpkin punch, even that oval punch might be things that sell out fast. I don't know that for certain. I'm just going on past experience that it seems like the punches go out faster. Okay, so I was looking at this, and if I stamp this one over here, I'm not going to waste paper. So I'm going to stamp this bigger one over here, and then I'm going to stamp this one over on this side, and I'm going to stamp it so that it's facing the correct way when I go to punch it. That way I'm not going to waste as much paper. All right, so I'm going to use Cajun Craze for that bigger pumpkin, that taller one. And I think I better stand up. Hi, Mary. I better stand up so I can see what I'm doing here. So I'm going to do one cup pumpkin in Cajun Craze. And then I'm going to do the other pumpkin. Remember I said that one had to go so it was this way. I'm going to do that in pumpkin pie because you want your pumpkins to have a little bit of different color, not all the same. I'm going to bring in some of the Memento ink and I'm going to take this jack-o'-lantern face and I'm just going to stamp it on the littler pumpkin. Okay, the other thing that I have to do for stamping, to look to see what else I have in here. Okay, I am going to stamp the greeting, Happy Halloween, on my circle, just a little bit off to the right. Okay, and I do need one more, just remember this. I need one more of the little pumpkins. Oh, I almost put it in the wrong color. Okay, pumpkin pie is where I wanted it. And on this one, this is going to be what holds up our easel card. So it's going to be on the inside. And it's just going to say cutie pie. Okay, so happy Halloween. And we're going to do cutie pie. And then for my pumpkins, I'm going to need some of the little stems. So I'm going to stamp a few of those. I think that should be good. I can just stick that in for the part that I need. And then the rest I'm going to be using with markers. So I don't need the ink pads. We can put those away. That way I won't get ink on anything. All right. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to take our punch and we're going to punch those things out. So there is our smaller pumpkin. I'm trying not to put my head in here. Okay, we've got another smaller pumpkin here. So notice how I'm using the edge of the paper so that I'm not cutting out this leaf and this pumpkin and that every single time I punch one of them. So I'm not wasting paper. And then this one, instead of having, it's going to get this little thing on the top, but it's not going to, I'll still have a lot of paper left over that I could punch a couple of these if I wanted to. Okay, and then we have our, I got a mess here, our little stems. There's one and two and one more. You know what? I think I'm missing a circle. I think I told you one black circle, but we actually have two black circles. We have the, I think it's the third smallest one, and I hope it's in the envelope here, otherwise I'll go cut it. No, it is. And I also have a little 1/2 inch strip of that designer paper. That's also in this envelope here. All right, let's get some of these scraps out of here so that I don't lose anything that I need to have. I'm gonna just carefully pick up what I have. There we go. All right, time to put this together. So with some glue dots, I am going to just add a little bit of glue to the base of those stems. I think I just ripped it a little bit. There we go. And put that right in there. And then we'll do the same thing for the other two. Bring them to life a little bit. There's our little one and our other little one. Now they did have some tiny ones. You could have stamped some of the other pumpkins. Notice there's other pumpkins on here and there's like this gourd. You would just have to fussy cut those out. So these are the two that are in the punch. The rest of these you would have to fussy cut. You would also have to fussy cut out that black crow. There is a leaf on there if you wanted to punch a leaf. If you wanted to cut these out, you would have to fussy cut those. So I opted for just making some of the pumpkins that we could punch out. All right, and then I'm going to use some liquid glue and I'm going to put down our bigger pumpkin. It's going to be kind of in the back. So I want my Happy Halloween. I want to make sure that I have that straight when I go to put this down. Okay, so I'm going to have that one a little bit over to the left. And then I'm going to put some dimensionals on this one. And I'm going to put it right over that stem to make sure I hold it in place. And I might just throw some little ones off on either side, just to make sure it's balanced. Probably don't need this many dimensionals. I like to always put enough so that it's not like you touch it and it sinks in the middle or sags in the middle, that it has dimension throughout. So I'm going to go ahead and set that right about there. Oh. All right. I felt that it was missing, like there was just a little bit too much white. So I took this little stamp that has the 3 leaves on it. And I know the last time that I used this, I used the ink pad and I was just really careful as to where I set it when I was putting it in. This time I decided I was going to use my Stampin' Write markers. You cannot use blends to color on stamps, but you can use our Stampin' Write markers, and that's what I decided to do. So I have crushed curry, pumpkin pie, and Cajun craze, and I'm just going to ink up each of the flowers or each of the leaves, flowers, has its own color. And I'm going to keep making sure that I use the same color. Notice I'm not going with the tip so that I damage the tip, but rather I'm writing with the side of the marker and inking that up that way. I am going to give it a huff just to add a little bit of extra moisture before I go ahead and stamp that down. Then I'm going to repeat that. I'm going to make sure that I color the same leaf with the same color. And if I want to switch them out, then I would just want to make sure that I clean in between so that I don't make the leaves look like a mucky color. You want them to look like a nice fall color. And if you put that Cajun craze and that yellow together, it's going to get look kind of mucky. All right, we'll probably do a couple more here yet. I might not stamp all of them on, but I'm going to stamp at least a couple of the leaves. And I'm kind of trying to alternate it so that the same colors aren't right next to each other. So I put a little bit of that orange. I probably should have moved that one a little bit sideways. I'm going to put one more over on this side. So I'm going to ink this up one last time. I like odd numbers, but I had odd numbers on one side and odd numbers on the other side is how I did it. So I had 3 on one side and 1 on this side. And I'm just going to go ahead and add a couple of leaves there. So just trying to fill in some of the whiteness and bring in a little bit of the fall theme of this card. All right, now we are ready to put this all together. So this is a book fold that is an easel card. I think I mentioned that already. And so what I'm going to do is before you glue this down, you do want to make sure that you fold this easel part in good. And it's easier to do before it is glued down. I can tell you that from experience. This is going to go back so that you have that. We'll be gluing this together. This is that bookbinding, and then this one is just our fold in half. Okay, so this layer of designer paper is going to get layered on top of the black. And again, I just did 1/8 of an inch, so there's just like a 1/16 of an inch all the way around. So it's kind of a tight little fit. So you want to just make sure that you try to, if you get 3 of the sides right, you should get the 4th side looking pretty good. And before actually I can glue this down already. Let me think. Yes, I can glue this down already. Sometimes I run ribbon all the way through this and then I seal it, but this time I ran the ribbon around, just around this little piece here. So I can definitely put that down right away. All right, now I'm going to bring in some of our essentials. I think it's called essentials. Baker's twine. It comes with white and black and like a crumb cake and a gray granite. And oh gosh, I don't even know what other colors are in there. I think there are, if I remember correctly, whoops, this is my ribbon one. Ooh, I have a gem on there. I'm gonna get rid of that. I think it comes with maybe 5 different colors that are all in our neutral colors. So you can mix and match. Oh, it has an off-white and a white. That's what it does. It has like the very vanilla and the basic white. I think I'm going to flip this around so that I can make my bow the correct way here. I mentioned last week that when you use the linen thread, you can tie in a knot before you tie your bow. You could also do that with the baker's twine. I tend to have a little bit more success when I just tie the bow and not the knot first. So I opt to just go right to the bow and not tie a knot first. Go ahead and pull on this and make these a little bit smaller. But I don't want them to twist too much. I just wanted to add a little bit of ribbon just for something a little bit on this extra side. And I have way more baker's twine than I need. And I am going to take a glue dot with my take your pick tool, and I'm just going to kind of roll it into a ball. And then I'm going to stick it behind that knot to kind of hold it in place. And I can still pull it a little bit if I need to. I don't have it that tight. It just adds a little bit of string. Now you could have wrapped it around a couple of times. If you're not a bow person, you could just tie it in a knot and just wrap it around a couple of times. You wouldn't have to add that. I just thought it added a little bit to this. And then this is going to go down. Oops, probably a little bit more glue down there than I needed. But that is going to go down on the front or that side panel of our storybook card. Now it is going to be a little bit lumpy because you got that twine underneath there. So you want to make sure that you put enough glue on, but you don't want to put so much that it's oozing out the sides. Okay, so I'm just going to hold this down until it dries a little bit because I do have that little bit of thickness underneath there. So you just want to make sure that it's going to stay attached and not come apart. All right, while that is drying, we are going to layer our designer paper on that one of the squares of black that we had. And then the next step, you just have to be very careful. So I was messing up. So I was trying to get a card done when I got home from work so I could show you one more sample. Hi, Nancy. I wanted to show you one more sample with this fold, and then I was trying to rush and I did it fast. So these were the colors that I put together. Look at, see how this is kind of all warped because I put glue on the whole thing. And then I took a wet wipe and tried to pull the glue off, and it's still feeling sticky. But I was going to put one of those fancy leaves on here with a greeting, and I thought, oh, those colors look so pretty and stuff together. And then I screwed it up. So I was like, Sarah, don't even try. Maybe next week I'll have something that's in this fold for you. Okay, so what you have to be careful of then is you're only going to put glue on one half of the diagonal here of this. And so I always tend to sneak it in just a little bit. So I'm not going to go right out to the corner. I'm going to come in just a little bit and then put my glue just in that area right there. And that's going to be this lower section. And then these corners, I want to match up on that diagonal, and I want to line it up so that I have as close to even as possible all the way around. Lining up those corners on that score line really helps to kind of get it even for you. Okay, so now this is going to pop up just like that. That's the easel part of it. So that's why we don't want to glue this top part down so that it can stand up. All right. Then instead of just taking this circle, I could have gone like this and layered it and put it on there. I thought to add just a little bit, I would kind of off center it instead of layering it right on top of it. So I decided I was going to just use liquid glue for this instead of dimensionals. And I'm just going to, I want to make sure that my circle is covered there. Hold that down. And then I'm just going to use regular liquid glue for this as well. Because there's going to be popping that happens on the inside, I decided that I would leave this just regular instead of popping it up on dimensionals. Oh, I take that back. I did pop it up on dimensionals. Holy cow. I'm looking at it, my sample now, and I'm like, I put the white one on dimensionals. So if you wanted to, you could put the white one on dimensionals. You could also put the whole black thing on dimensionals if you wanted to. You could make it however you want. All right. Next, I'm going to add a little strip of this to the inside of the card so that when it's completely opened, you will see this. When it's just on the easel, you're not going to see this, but we're going to write our message to the person more on the top part of this layer because this is going to come down here and be what holds our easel card up. So this can just go on that black layer like that. And this just kind of mimics the designer paper that's on the left-hand side on the outside. It kind of mimics it on the inside. And so I can open this completely up like the book fold and glue this down. And again, you would write your message on the top portion here. You could write your message. Down here, I'm going to glue this little pumpkin that says Cutie Pie. So happy Halloween, Cutie Pie. Just going to glue that down. But then the circle is going to go up on dimensionals so that when I want to put this easel card up, it has something to rest on. Oh, thanks, Kay. I had fun making this. I came home from the cottage yesterday morning because I had laundry to do. I had to get ready. Oh, shoot. I just got something on here. I had to finish up some laundry for the week. I wanted to get this card made. My mom and my aunt helped me with the second card. It's for a swap. So I'm excited to share that with you. That's going to be my second one. But I'm just going to go ahead and let me see here. This pops up like this. We're going to put the cutie pie right about there so it can stand up. Okay, so happy Halloween, cutie pie. You can write your message in here. And then we always need to add just a little bit of bling. So I have these matte dots that I thought that had black in them, and they're nice and flat, so you don't have to worry about adding a lot of bulk to your card. So I have like a bigger one that we'll put down here and a smaller one, and then let's see, we'll put another maybe small one up here. Okay, so there's a little bit of bling going on there as well. So that is the Cajun Craze, which technically did not win. The pumpkin pie did, but here is the pumpkin pie. So you can kind of decide, here's the pumpkin pie. Do you like the pumpkin pie? Or do you like the Cajun Craze now that they're both done? Do you like the little bit darker orange or do you like the true pumpkin pie orange with our pumpkins? Two different ones here. Basically the same card, just with a different colored base, but using the same designer paper because those colors are in both of them. You could even, instead of black, if you wanted to, you could pull in some gray because it looks like there's some basic gray in there as well. But I thought this was kind of a fun little card that you could then display for the holidays, and it would be a fun card to give away. I'm thinking, I know a lot of the ladies that are in my stamp club have grandkids and love making, or nieces and nephews, or whatever the case might be. Your own kids, if you make cards for your own kids for Halloween, it's kind of a fun little card. I did throw a little extra designer paper. I thought I did. Where did I set it though? I remember cutting it, and I remember it being put in the envelope. But where did it fall on the floor? I don't see it on the floor. Oh, you know what? I think it got put with, here it is. It got put with the paper that I had. So I'm going to go ahead and, whoops, got a little bit too much there. Try to spread it out with the tip a little bit. That's what I do when I end up getting a little bit too much. I have a newer glue because we made, oh my goodness, we made 21 of the next card that I'm going to show you for a swap that I'm in. And yeah, there was, you'll see how much and I'm not even going to do anything. I have some of the stuff cut. So, but this cute little envelope, do I have it all the way up? I don't. Let's see if I can get this all the way up here. There's a little bit of wiggle, but not a lot. So there we go. I think I got it. Like the pumpkin pie better. All right. Yeah, I couldn't. It was hard to tell with the Cajun craze what it was going to look like. I think, Kay, that I like the pumpkin pie better as well. But there are some people that like that richer color of the Cajun craze. I think because it kind of ended up being a little bit, not a necessarily has to be a kid card. Um, but I think maybe if you wanted to maybe send it, this might look nicer if you wanted to send it like a masculine card or if you wanted to send it to an adult, but maybe for somebody who's younger, maybe the pumpkin pie. I don't know. I like both of them, but all right. And Denise usually likes pumpkin pie, but she likes the Cajun craze. So there you go. To each his own, right? So now you got to see both of them. So it's probably good that I made the Cajun craze that time. All right, on to our next card. Let me put this bucket down and bring my next bucket up. I'm going to set these aside so I can type this up yet tonight. All right, several weeks ago, might even be like a month and a half ago, we did a newer technique and I did a challenge with it. And it was called the faux shutter technique. Remember these cards that I made and I showed you? We ended up making, I think we made the lemon lolly one on the live, but we did this square. Well, I have been racking my brain thinking, I wonder how it would look if instead of doing a square, we used one of our other shapes that has square sides, but isn't necessarily just the four sides with the square. And so I decided I wanted to play around a little bit this weekend. And I have two aunts that are nuns. And well, actually, I have three aunts that are nuns. Two of them are with the same order and they're sisters. They're my mom's sisters. And so when I went to the convent that day, I went to the smaller convent and not the mother house, where my one aunt is at the mother house. And she couldn't come over because they were all quarantined because someone had tested positive for COVID. So she happened to be at our cottage this weekend. She was coming off of a week's vacation. So she didn't get to stamp with us last time. So she kind of wanted to stamp. So I just packed a whole bunch of stuff up. I had no idea what we would do, if we would do it, but it was so gosh darn hot that we spent most of Saturday afternoon. They helped me make 21 of these cards. So I'm using this stamp set, this bundle called Rustic Crate. And it has these little bunches of like a poinsettia. This has corn and sunflowers and pumpkins. That's what we're going to use for the fall. It also has like these little greens that you can put in here and a couple of different sayings. But along with being able to cut out each of those things, it also has this die that has a crate. And I know some people were really struggling online with knowing how do you use this crate. It does have a handle. I'm not using the handle tonight. In a different card that I used the handle. It has this little hello that we're going to be using. And then it has some different parts that you can add to the crate to give it a little bit more dimension. So this is the stamp set or the bundle that I'm going to use for my card tonight. And what I decided to use instead of the square in that faux shutter is I decided to use the countryside corners. And the one that I used was actually the third from the smallest. And so let me bring out the colors that we're going to be using for our card. And then I'll show you how I made it. So I'm going to use early espresso. for my card base. So this measures 8.5 by 5.5, and I scored it at 4 1/4. I have a layer of pecan pie that is 4 inches by 5 1/4. And this I cut out that die from the center of it. And then after I cut out the die, I ran it through that distressed tiles embossing folder. Because this swap that I'm in, one of the things that they wanted us to do, they told us it had to be something from the new catalog. We needed to stay away from the bear because last month a lot of people used the bear set, and we had to use an embossing folder. So this by far was my favorite embossing folder. So I decided to use this one. Now, when I did the square ones, when I cut out that center, I always put it back in there. For this one, when I put that pecan pie back in there, my crate didn't stand out as much. And so I decided to keep my center this early espresso. All right. We have a layer of berry vanilla for the inside, which measures 4 by 5 1/4 as well. And then I have done some die cutting. So I have a scrap here to stamp my image, and this is very vanilla. I have cut out, that's part of the crate. And we have another piece that's part of the crate. Okay, that's part of the crate. Oops, I'm out of the camera here. So I've got 2 pieces that are parts of the crate. And then I cut out, I cut out a hello from that, I think it's called oxidized copper paper. And then I also cut out a hello from the Very Vanilla. And I cut out some of the pieces for the crate. Now you only need 2 of these, but I did 4 because I was afraid I was going to lose them, and then I ended up sticking them on glue dots. Kathy Miller taught me that when she came here and she had some of her holly on there. I'm like, that was really brilliant. I've never thought of doing that before. Great job, Kathy. And then I have little 1/4 inch wide strips. Now I have 8 of them here. I probably won't need 8 because some of them are shorter than others, and so I won't need all of them, but these are what I need to make that faux shutter look. All right, I'm going to go ahead and start by stamping the image. I have, this is again, distressed tile embossing folder. That's the one that we used, that I used on there. Just so, I'm so in love. I'm like obsessed with that embossing folder. It's the same one that I used the last time when we made that sunflower card. All right, so I'm inking up this in Memento because I'm going to color it in. Okay, nice image, right? There are dies to cut that out, and through the magic of TV, I have that cut out already for us. All right, I'm also going to ink up and just stamp in the left-hand corner. I'm going to get about one of those pumpkins and one of the sunflowers. I might get a little bit of leaves and I might get a little bit of the next pumpkin, but I just wanted to bring that into the inside just a little bit. And then I wanted to bring that pecan pie color on the inside. So I chose one of these sentiments. It says blessed beyond measure. And I just inked that up with the pecan pie. And now I'm going to do this a little bit over to the right. I'm going to make sure I have this straight. Whoops. Love lines, right? Okay, so blessed beyond measure. Now we're going to color this in as well. And normally I would try to color things in, but I wanted you to see how easy it is to color these images, because you might think, oh, there's so much detail in there. It really did not take me. My aunt actually is the one that colored most of them for me because I was putting the strips on. And let me tell you, she colored all of these faster than it took to put all the strips on. It took forever to do those strips on 21 cards. So I'm going to go ahead and I wanted to color my two pumpkins just like we did in the last one. I wanted them to have two different colors of pumpkin of orange. So I started with the lighter color of the pumpkin pie, and I went ahead and colored in the whole thing with that. Sometimes I start with the lines, but for this one, it seemed like it was better to start with the fill and then come back and put the lines in and then work some of the lines out. And I'm wondering if I should zoom in here just a little bit. Let me grab my mouse, and I think I can zoom in the camera a little bit. Let's see. There. Now, just somebody remind me to zoom back out after I'm done um, coloring it all. So then I took the pointed tip, the bullet tip, and I kind of went through and did all of my lines. But then I found that that was kind of like really stark. So I came back with the brush again and just kind of blended those lines back in so that the lines are still there, but I'm just kind of blending them a little bit. Okay, then I did the same thing with the back pumpkin, but I did it with Cajun Craze rather than the pumpkin pie. So I'm going to take the lighter Cajun Craze, and I think this one I had to use this side of my marker of my Stampin' Blend because the other side, for some reason, it is all damaged. It's what happens when you have classes at your house and you have a lot of people that are using them. Um, I do have to sometimes replace my Stampin' Blends. They're not going to last forever, especially like I said, when I have, different people using them all the time. And, like on a given card buffet, there might be, I don't know, 15 people that make a card or more than that, or 15 card of one card that's made, and all that coloring has to be done, and they just wear out after a while. Okay, so again, I came in and did the lines, and now I'm going to take the lighter color and I'm going to blend that in again. Okay, if you wanted to make your pumpkins the same, you could make your pumpkins the same. You could make them all pumpkin pie if you wanted to. You could make a green pumpkin if you wanted to. Yeah, Jay, coloring was so much easier than I expected on this as well. Okay, next I'm going to do the sunflower, and I have a dark daffodil delight because we do not have a crushed curry Stampin' Blend. So the dark daffodil delight was about the closest I could get to what I wanted um, for these sunflowers. And you do have to be just a little bit careful. Sometimes you have to figure out, is this a leaf or is this part of the sunflower? And sometimes I had to go in when I was going back and coloring in some of the leaves later. I realized that we had missed some of the sunflower petals um, that they just didn't get colored in because it almost looked like they were supposed to be the leaves. Like right in here, you got to be careful. And right up in here, we had to be careful. Okay, and then for the center, I'm bringing in that pecan pie. So this is the darker pecan pie, and I'm just going to color those in. I wanted to have a little contrast between the sunflower and this corn that's here. And so for the corn, I decided to use the wild wheat. And I'm using the light wild wheat. And doesn't matter which one I use. I just wanted there to be a difference between where the sunflower was and where the wheat was. Now I thought about using the light daffodil delight, And then all of a sudden I was like, you know what? What about wild wheat? It's kind of a shade of yellow as well. I know it's not everybody's favorite, but I thought it did the trick here. All right, then I wanted to have a difference between the outside of the corn and then these other leaves from the sunflower. So I decided to use a um, mossy meadow, and I used the light and dark mossy meadow. So this is the light, and I'm going to do these bigger leaves that go with the sunflower in the mossy meadow. Okay, so those are the light. And then I'm going to go back in and I'm going to do the veins of the leaf with the dark mossy meadow. So this is a really neat, I mean, that you could do Christmas with this one, you could do fall. I loved this little combination of the pumpkins and the sunflowers and the corn. It was so traditional fall, I guess. And with that crate, it was just so fun to use. Wait until you see putting it in the crate is so fun. And then I'm going to just go back over again with the light a little bit, just to work that in a little bit. And if you do get a little bit on your yellow, it's not the biggest thing in the world. You can hardly see it. Some of it's going to be tucked into the crate anyway, and you won't even see all of it. And then the very last thing is with some old olive. I did the corn husks, the outside of the corn here. And for that, I didn't even bring the dark in because I really wanted there to be a contrast between these darker leaves and then the lighter color on the corn. Isn't that awesome? And then I really took my Wink of Stella. My mom did all the Wink of Stella on everything. She shakes a lot, so she couldn't help color. So she's like, I can't mess up Wink of Stella if I'm shaking. And so she did all of my sunflowers with Wink of Stella. And oh, they look so nice. I said to her, you did such a good job with that, Mom. She just really put quite a bit of Wink of Stella on them. All right, so that is going to be for the, whoops, for the outside. Isn't that pretty? And then we're going to go ahead and kind of replicate that on this little bit that's on the inside. I probably could have been doing that at the same time, but I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of light pumpkin pie. Bring in some of the dark. And then go ahead and blend it a little bit. That's why they're called blending pens. Sister Paula kept saying over and over again, I just love these markers. I love how they color, and they really do. I love our Stampin' Blends. I love coloring with them. Okay, and then I'm going to put this other color of the pumpkin back here just a little bit. I don't think I have to do the lines of that one. I just have to kind of color where the pumpkin is there. And then I have the sunflower to do. And I don't know why I picked the brush tip. I usually use the bullet point tip, but for some reason I opened up the brush and I stayed with it. And then our pecan pie in the center. And then that Mossy Meadow ink. This is the Mossy Meadow, yep. That leaf, just a little bit darker. Okay, so that just brought in a little bit of that to the inside of my card as well. All right, I'm going to put these away. While I'm building this crate, I think I'm going to keep it zoomed in to help you see how the crate is built. I still have to do all these lines yet too, but okay. I think the problem that most people have is they think because these lines are on the side like this, these long lines, and these are here, that these have to somehow match up, and they can't figure out how to match them up. It's actually just the opposite. So these are the long lines on one side, and these are the long lines on the other side. And normally when your score lines look like that, you would fold them this way, but you actually have to fold them the opposite way. So I'm folding this up with those along the side. I'm folding that up. I'm not making mine three-dimensional really. I'm just making a little pocket for those pumpkins to sit in. And I am going to take my bone folder and I am going to give those a little burnish. My mom, God bless her, she did this all with her fingernails. She's got really nice fingernails. She said, if I did crafting like this all the time, I would have to get my nails clipped up. I'm like, that's why I don't have any nails. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're just going to take a little bit of liquid glue. I'm actually going to put this on my silicone mat because I don't want to get glue over everything just in case. And I'm just going to put a little dot on each of these little things here. Whoops, that was a little too much. Again, I'll spread it out with the tip a little bit. And then this bottom rests up against that, and these sides each have to line up. So you can start with one of the sides. For me, it was easier to start with my left side and line those up to the edge. So I'm folding those down, and then I'm bringing this along the edge, and then I'm pressing it there. Okay, and that made my little cart or crate that is just going to set in. Isn't that super easy? It looks a lot harder than it really is. You could, now sometimes when I have a wood grain like this, I like to take a little bit of my crumb cake marker and ink it up a little bit. I didn't on this one. I did notice that these little things, one seems to be just a tad bit longer. So like these are lined up here and this one's a little bit longer, and that the longer one fit better in the front of the crate. And I'm actually going to throw, this doesn't have a lot of glue on because it was sharing a glue dot and I think it's stuck with the other one. But I just lined these up at the edge there. Yeah, made 21 of these. Actually, 22 because I wanted to keep one because I didn't think I got one back in the swap that I was doing. And I'm like, I want to make sure I have one of these. Plus, then we cut for this one as well. So we cut for this one, but we didn't make this one. So, all right, so that we're going to line right up against the side there for our crate. Isn't that cool? Doesn't that like just give it a little bit more dimension? All right, now we have to make the front of our card with this. So what I did was I started with one of the long ones, and I'm going to line it up right where these two, I should probably keep this zoomed in, where these two, so this slanted line here and this straight line where they intersect, I want this to come right up until there. So I'm going to go ahead and add some glue. Now these strips are a lot longer than I need. I know, oh, can you hear Lila snore? She is sound asleep. She probably just heard me say her name, so she's probably going to wake up now. Okay, so I want to go right up to the edge, and I want to go all the way. I want to go straight across. I want this to run straight across. Okay, then I'm going to take my next one. Now, this one can be a little bit shorter because it has to run along that diagonal. So I'm going to go ahead and add some glue. Now I do have to pick this up and tuck this underneath what I just pushed down there So see how I'm tucking it underneath there just a little bit and then pressing it. Okay, so it's just going to be a straight line like that. I'm going to trim all these things off eventually. This is why I put it on my silicone mat, because you're going to get some glue and stuff because I obviously glued longer than I needed. All right, I'm going to take the next one. And every single time you do this, you have to tuck underneath the one in front of it just a little bit. So I've got to tuck underneath this one. So I've got to pull it up just a little so that I can get it tucked underneath there. I don't want it to come out the other end. I want it just to barely get underneath there. And then I'm going to put the next strip down. See how I'm getting glue here? Love my silicone mat. I'm going to be able to, once that's dry, just pick it all right back up. Right, I think what I'm going to do, it doesn't look like I cut 8 of them like I thought I did. I'm going to trim one of those and use one of them for this next short one. Right, so again, I'm going to pop underneath here. I'm trying to get my hands as much out of the way as I can so you can see this. Okay, so that's just going to pop right underneath there and then go straight. And I'm going to trim this a little bit too because I'm going to want this for another short one. I'm going to take another long one because this is a longer piece. And I'm going to pop it underneath here a little bit. And then it just runs completely straight till it hits the side of the card. I did get a little bit of glue here, but I'm going to take care of that afterwards. Once it dries, I can use my little eraser and pick some of that up. Here's one of them that I cut. I actually have to cut it straight for putting it underneath there. The glue was on this side, so I'm going to go ahead and this is another short one. Pop it underneath there, run it along the edge and just put that there. We'll go ahead and cut this one. Whoops. And run this next one. You could cut them as you go along. I've just been cutting the ones that where I could use them on something that was a little bit shorter. This is kind of short here. Do that. Make sure that after you pull them up to get that underneath there, that you press that down good and make sure that the glue holds so that it doesn't pop up on you. And then we have this last one. Can you see why I'm making 21 of these, putting them together? Why the strips took the longest. I had glue everywhere. I don't think I had, maybe I did have a silicone mat with me. I don't remember, but I felt like I had glue absolutely everywhere by the time I was done. And Mom, I think I forgot to clean the table off like I was going to do before we left because we were sitting eating and I'm like, oh, or playing cards, I think we were. And I'm like, there's glue right there. Isn't that cool? Ah, I love how that turned out. I would just like, I'm going to try it and see what it looks like. Maybe I won't like it at all. I have no idea. And to be perfectly honest with you, after I did it, my mom and my aunt were like, I really like that, Sarah. And I'm like, are you sure? Are you sure? And they kept saying, yes, that is really sharp looking. And I'm like, oh, I feel like I need to send a picture to Kathy to see what she thinks. And then my mom was offended that I said that I didn't accept their opinion. I needed to have Kathy's opinion. and, and I'm like, but look, she just sent me a card the other day and she asked questions. Does this look okay? Or should I do this? What do you think? We do that to each other all the time. So then my mom's like, okay, send it to Kathy. See what she thinks. And Kathy's answer was, yes, that she liked it. And see, my mom's like, see, even Kathy likes it. So it was a go. All right. So that's that. Let's go ahead and put our inside in already. And do that. I'm still kind of zoomed in. Is that okay with everyone, or should I be zooming out a little bit? I don't know if it's blurrier because I'm zoomed in. Let me zoom out just a tad. Let me get my mouse back in here. There we go. That might be a little bit helpful. All right, then I'm going to go ahead and put dimensionals on the back of this. You know what I didn't do yet? I didn't glue this in here. You do have to glue that in. You don't want them to be able to take it out. Although I was thinking it would be kind of cool if you could somehow figure out what you could do with that so that if they did take it out, it could be something. But right now it's just all the coloring on the back. So I'm going to go ahead and put this down. And what I did was when I set it down was I wanted to make sure that this straight edge ran across the straight edge here. Kind of wanted to see where this was going to land and where that is to try to get them as evenly spaced as possible because you wanted to have that straight. Okay, and then all I did was I just put a little bit of glue on the back of that and then tucked it in and pressed it down. Okay, and then I put the adhesive sheets on the back of this. This is very vanilla paper with that little hello greeting. And we put that down here. And then I was like, I feel like it just needs something a little bit more than that. And maybe you're okay with that and think, oh, I would just leave that hello because it stands out so much. And I thought about that. Like, I really like the off-white, but then we cut a little bit of the copper, that oxidized copper paper. And what I did was I ended up just offsetting that a little bit with the white. So you could still see the off-white, but that the copper was kind of offset a little bit. So you got a little bit of both of it. So it gave it just a little bit of shine down on the bottom. So there's that, just that little bit. You can still see it says hello because of the very vanilla, but that copper, when you look closely at it, it's like, ooh, and it kind of shines. Then we're not done yet. We took some of the rustic metallic gems, I think that's what they're called, adhesive back dots, and I have to get some putty coming out here. I started to put those around and then I'm like, what if I put them right where those little holes are? And we just made that like little nails almost in the crate. And so that's what I ended up doing. Okay, so you can kind of see those little nails almost in the crate. And then I felt like it still needed yet a little bit of something. So I brought out some of the linen thread. Now this does have a handle that you could put in the crate. I think I mentioned that. I opted not to do the handle and instead I used a little bit of our linen thread. My mom tied all of these for me. God bless her. I had to do only 3 when I got home because we ran out of a spool of linen thread. And then she felt horrible because she said, well, I could have saved a little bit more if I didn't make some of them. It doesn't matter. They looked beautiful the way she did them. So I was just happy to have all of those done so I did not have to. So this was kind of really a group effort on this swap. Um, I designed it, but they kept giving me ideas and telling me what they liked and what they didn't like. And then again, I'm going to take my take your pick tool. I'm just going to roll that in a ball. And I didn't have any glue dots with me, so we used liquid glue for all of these, but I do prefer putting a little glue dot in there and then smashing the center of my knot into that glue dot, and then taking my bone folder and just kind of curling those a little bit. You can also do that with your fingers. Okay, you want to get them so they're looking somewhat nice there. And that was our finished card. So the fun little bow on there with those pumpkins and sunflowers, the little hello, and then telling someone that you're blessed beyond measure by them. So this was so much fun to make. I loved using that crate. I can't wait to see some of the other things that demonstrators do with it, because you really can fold on it and you can make it more three-dimensional. I mean, I made it so that I could still slide this in here, but it's not three-dimensional at all. But just had so much fun using the same technique that we used on this card with a square and just applying it to that octagon that this little um, die is. So it was so much fun. I think what I'm gonna do is let me grab my Stamp and Cut and Emboss machine. I did this a couple of weeks ago and someone asked me how I did it. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring it in. I'm gonna take my envelope and I have my embossing folder here. Let me zoom out a little bit more because I feel like I'm still zoomed in a little bit. Let's zoom out here. There we go. That's a little bit better. That's as far as I can go. Let me get my plates for my big shot or my Stamp and Cut and Emboss machine. So I'm going to need the main number 1, and I'm going to need that number 4 specialty plate. So the 4 specialty plate, because it's a 3D, and this number 1. Let's go ahead. Ooh, Lila's waking up now. She's ready to go. Okay, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to take the top part of the envelope and I'm just going to put it inside of the die. Now, I could run it through this way, but I find that I end up damaging the envelope, and I know you're supposed to go with the fold first, but I have to say that when I do these envelopes like this, I do normally tend to do them this way, because if I do it this way, it's not, unless it's one of those 6x6 ones, they are not long enough for me to do the entire flap. So I'm just going to bring this up to where that fold is on the back of the envelope. I'm going to set this in here. This is not how I recommend putting your embossing folders through the Stamp and Cut and Emboss machine. I do always recommend that you go with the fold first, but in this case, just doing this quick little envelope, I don't think it's going to hurt it that much. But now I have the back of the envelope matches the front of the card with the embossing. And I didn't have to stamp any of those. I could have stamped this on the front if I wanted to. Then I would make sure that I stick a piece of paper in there when I'm coloring them, because otherwise it's going to color through to the back. So if you decide to use the stamp on the front, then you would for sure want to stick a piece of paper inside of your envelope. So basically, I would stamp this image down here. I would take a piece of scrap paper, throw it in here, and then just go ahead and color so that it didn't bleed through to the back. All right. So there we have it. I know I only did 2 cards, but holy cow, that last one took a really long time to make. So it's still almost been an hour. Is it almost an hour and a half? I think it says 7:53. Okay, so here is our faux shutter with the octagon rather than with the square, and using that little crate die. And then we have our Halloween book fold that is actually an easel card in both the pumpkin pie, put that here, and in the Cajun craze. So whoever wins this next week can decide if they want to have the Cajun craze or the pumpkin pie. All right. So that is all I have for you tonight. And let me find my mouse again and I will come back to you. Here I am. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I hope that you loved these fall cards. I love fall. I love the colors of fall. I love the weather of fall. I love everything there is about fall. Football, pumpkin spice, apples, all of that. I just love all of fall. So I had so much fun making these cards because it really is one of my favorite things. So I hope that you like them as well. I will be back again. It will be next Tuesday again because I will not be around on Saturday. Hopefully, I'll have a whole bunch of things to show you from my experience in Lansing. I'm going with Kathy and with Lisa, and we're really excited. I looked into the ferry from Milwaukee over to Michigan. It was really expensive. So we are going to drive and we're going to go down through Chicago because it was 6 hours and 20 minutes through Chicago. And it was about 8 hours if we went to Upper Michigan and across the bridge and over. So anyhow, it's going to be fun, but it's going to be a little bit of driving, but we will have fun on our way, I'm sure. So hopefully I'll have a lot to share with you next week. Thank you so much for hopping on and sharing my video and being here. I hope that this has inspired you to be creative on your own and try some of these folds or some of these techniques. Thank you so much. Remember, tomorrow is the day, September 6th. The catalog goes live. If you want to, you can join Jay at 4 o'clock in the morning when she's setting her alarm to place her order. I don't know if I'll get up at 4 o'clock. Sometimes I'm just going to bed at 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock. So 4 is a little early for me, but I will be placing an order tomorrow. So anyhow, I would appreciate it if your order is under $150. If you put in that host code, it helps me a lot. If it's over $150, please do not use that because you will get hostess benefits yourself. And I want you to be able to take advantage of those. So thank you so much for joining me tonight. Thanks for all the thumbs up, the hearts, the everything else that you've sent my way and encouragement. I really, really appreciate it. I hope that you have a great week and even better weekend. See you next week. Bye-bye.